Um, yeah, I I want to talk about what's been coming to me the past weeks, um, and specifically in this turning right now, November 18th into the 20th, 24th, 25th area. Um, Y'all, October and November were never going to be easy. That's all I have to say. They were never going to be easy. Um, the immensity at which the energy is rising before it expands is extremely fast. And you might be noticing it, whether it's physical ailments in your body, whether it's interpersonal relationship or severings or abruptness or uh, revelations that you otherwise maybe didn't even say out loud before. But it's here. And then even collectively and globally, we can see around the world in so many places and in Gaza, and the intensity seems to only be climbing. And that's a lot. That is a lot. What I've been learning from my guides, and I want to clarify this because someone was like, so you like see these beings every day with you? And no, I don't see my guides. It's funny, I can see everyone else's guides. I can see deceased loved ones, but for me it's not important to see them. I trust them, like I trust their ness in being here, and in that I feel them, I sense them, almost like when you are alone in a room and suddenly you feel like, is someone in here? This is really weird. I feel like someone's in here or someone's watching me. But it's not creepy watching me. Now know, as a child, I thought it was creepy and I was very scared of being watched. Now I know that they're here and there's love and immense resource they're wanting to offer me. If I would only say the words, I need your help, please help me, right? Um, and so, yeah, I've been in deep connection with them these past 2 weeks because I've been pretty much uh, glued to my home, um, because of my back and because of very particular muscles that were seized and are slowly starting to let go and unfurl. The more that I listen, the more that I pay attention, and the more that I let go into what is. It sounds so simple, right? And it is. The hard part is actually the doing of it, right? The action of it. And I don't mean, in my case, I can't even run right now or walk, so without pain. So what I mean is that sometimes the doing looks like nothing. It looks like laying down for a week. And you might say, how can I do that? How can I? There are many ways to do many things, right? What I have learned at the beginning of my journey of Earth School and being here, it took me getting immensely sick with like a cold or a flu usually to go down to the ground, to be nourished by others, to ask for help, to acknowledge, oh, something is awry, or there's grief here, or I need to feel myself right now. Whatever it was, it would take such cataclysmic events for me to see, to stop, and to listen. Now I get a little nudge and I take the note. Got the note. Thank you so much. Got it. Okay. I don't even know what I'm doing with the note yet, but received, right? And then throughout the day, a triangle, a flock of geese are just flying over right now. Yeah, message received. See? You can't. This is amazing. This is how life is. It's always responding. It's always responding. And we are in connection and relationship with it, always. If we choose to trust ourselves and believe it, that's another thing, right? So there's this energy, right? This death energy that's been here. I would say it started in October and kind of is intensifying to a much higher degree right now. And with this death energy and with really listening to my guides, first of all, I had to stop everything. And the ego mind is like, no, we've got so much to do. We've got so many people we're holding. We've got so much to take care of. And we're responsible for holding the whole, or a piece in the whole. But the spirit's like, no, like, sure, yeah, but also there's things that are way more important because they affect how you hold it all. And you need to come back to yourself, back to the basics. So whenever there's this sort of opposing energies, right, it can feel really hard. It can feel confusing. It can feel flattening, heavy, depressive, anxiety ridden. It can feel all of these things just within the body, just these energies alone. And then when we kind of avoid them, they even grow bigger, right? So in the past, I used to just let them grow bigger. I was like, what's fine? I don't really want to tend to that right now. And then they like explode and like, a toilet overflowing, all the stuff comes up and it's like, yikes, right? It's like, oh boy, now I have to deal with this. So now, like I said, I heard the call, I got the crumb, and I laid my butt down. It wasn't easy, required a lot of rescheduling, canceling, reconfiguring, which is not an easy thing. But I knew that I needed more support around me in this time. And I knew that I needed to tend to the body right now. And here's the thing. You can kind of, the body is a vehicle. It's a vessel. That doesn't mean it's not important. The vehicle that we are in is pretty miraculous. No matter what you have, no matter what you're going through, no matter what, if you're still able to watch this right now and you have breath in your lungs, and you might be navigating a series of things like I am right now, you're still here. You're still here. There's still something that is pulling forward for you to live, right? And that is something. That is something that has no name, right? Because you could just expire, right? By expire, I mean die at any moment. That's always a possibility. You could always just die at any moment. And I've seen this now after years of doing readings. That happens, and it's wildly confusing to everyone because one moment they're in their whatever, and the next moment they're gone, right? Massive aneurysm, massive heart attack, massive stroke, you name it, like just coming in and boom, they're gone, right? A virus, a flu, like things that just confound people today, right? So that energy of death is everywhere. The energy of death is everywhere at any moment, at any time. And so if it's everywhere, just like the air we breathe, it's not to be feared. It's actually just to be accepted and to melt into, right? To allow ourselves to get even softer in the presence of the death energy, right? The more we armor up, the more we get strong, the more we tug, and the more exhausted it's going to feel in our bodies and our beings and our spirit. The more that we're going against what is instead of being with the isness, being with the uncertainty, being with the grief, being with the praise, being with the joy, being with the magic, being with the pleasure, being with the pain, being with the suffering, being with the devastation, being with the confusion, being with I'm not okay, all these things, right? That is what the death energy is calling us into. Can you be in these realms of despair with no lights on? And can you put a hand forward as you make your way through the darkness? Can you just reach a hand forward and make your way through the darkness? I can't see, but I'm still here. And I don't know what's in front of me, on the sides of me, but I'm going to put my hands up and say, guide me, show me, protect me. Right? So this is the energy of death. This is the surrendering that's required, right? That makes it a more melting into instead of a stiffening up to, right? Even when I do that right now in my body, right? The whole nervous system is getting ready to run, is what it feels like, or just fall over and die. Like, that's literally what it feels like. It feels like so much adrenaline that I could just run and not even realize I have legs, or completely pass out and just numb out and I can't, right? So this is all connected, right? Whenever spirit talks about things or gives guidance or comes through in readings, they always bring this multifaceted, multi-layered approach. There is not just one thing happening in isolation only in the physical body. There's the energy body, there's the emotional body, there is this realm, like it's all swirling and all shaping each other and all connected. And we may not see it. And it's not really our job to see the entire spectrum, because let me tell you, it's a lot. I see it for other people and I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, this is kind of breaks your brain, right? And then you have to like come back down to like just this reality, which can be hard, right? To just stay in the here and the now. So when we enter into this energy and we allow it to be here, we allow ourselves to be a part of it, we can then be transformed, right? And I'm not saying transformed as this like, oh, it's going to be beautiful after this, I just know it. I hope, right? But it also might be incredibly more painful or more hard or more difficult. Maybe it will be easeful, but it's going to be different for everyone. That transformation, that being broken open, right? A teacher of mine, Rev Angel, just said, can we allow ourselves to be broken open? Can we allow ourselves to be pierced in the heart by what's happening again and again and again? And it's not this, I just want to suffer and feel the pain. It's let that suffering and the pain shift you. Let it move you. And you might say, well, what does that mean? It means however exactly it lands in you when you just heard that. Right? Maybe that means I gotta move. I gotta get out of this place. I'm not happy. This relationship is super unhealthy and toxic and scary. Like, yeah, why am I putting up with this? Right? It might mean, oh, my job. I am so unfulfilled and so unhappy, and I keep being crushed. I'm gonna just send out applications today and look for something else, and I'm gonna make my intention clear that this is not for me. And what is for me are all these feelings here. And I'm going to write about those feelings, right? Maybe it means I'm going to feel the grief of what's falling apart in my life that I've been too afraid to say. Ooh, yeah, that thing. And then I might have to utter it out loud to someone I love, right? We could go on and on. There is a million ways to be broken open. And it's going to be extremely personal to you. But what I found in my own experience is that it's the thing that is like in my chest, in my belly, and it's just sitting there. And it comes up in my dreams, and it comes up in my, me blanking out during the day, and it comes up in my unconscious, that thing, that thing over there. It wants to be tended. It wants to be loved. It wants to be listened to. And then it wants you to do something about it. Much like you would a very small child if it came to you in pain, in suffering, in need of something, right? So this death energy isn't to be feared, right? It's not to be feared. It is happening right now. I am in the energy of death right now. If you allow yourself to open up to it, you can feel it too right now. It is a lot. It much feels like pressing energy, right? Like, I can't get up off the ground. Oh, I'm going back down. I can't get up. Oh, I'm going back down. That's what it feels like. Sort of like a cloud just coming over and just, right? And the invitation is to go, and melt into it. I promise you, you'll find things you would have never found if you were fighting it. Just found another sign. A giant hawk just flew over to validate that. So this is where we're at right now. It's an invitation to be gentle, to go slow, to allow yourself time and space to feel, to process, to regulate, and then move in a way that lets others know you've been broken open. You've been broken open, right? I want to give this example that's coming to me is I think I was in a grocery store. This has happened actually many times throughout my life, but I was in a grocery store and I think it was right after George Floyd was murdered. And my grief was just over spilling out everywhere. It could not be contained. It could not be contained. And my eyes would just weep out everywhere. And it's why I had a hard time going to grocery stores or anywhere at the time in 2020. Because I couldn't go along with the program, right? There was this program going on that we smile and we say good and nice, but on the inside, that's not what people are feeling. And if you're an empath or an intuitive, just like me, I feel everyone. I feel what they're not saying. I feel their trauma, their pain. I can feel their thoughts sometimes, which is, a lot. I can feel everything that's not being named, that's hiding, right? And so you can imagine going through the world and everyone sort of putting up a veneer can make you feel a little mad, can make you feel like am I completely alone in this, or is anyone else in pain? Right? So I remember on a particular day I went to the grocery store and my heart was just wrenched. And I saw this man, and it was so simple. He just said, he looked at me and he said, "How are you?" And I said, "Honestly, I'm really struggling. I'm really going through it. It's really hard right now." And he just said, "Yeah, me too." And his eyes just welled up. And no other words were spoken after that, but we just acknowledged each other in pain. And that was the biggest gift to me in that time. And that is literally what we could do for each other. That's how we heal the collective, so that we're not having these isolated experiences, but we're actually being able to be grieving out loud. There are many cultures where you can scream in the streets, you can cry, you can be in grief for what you've just lost. And they'll come over to you and hold you and be with you and rub your back and say, I know, we're here. We're with you in your grief, my friend. We're with you." Right? Can you imagine here in the US? Can you imagine? What medicine to share our grief with each other, to feel safe enough to do so. Yeah, for some reason this is coming in, so I'm going to close with this, but I I went to North Carolina, as many of you know. I did a podcast episode a while back about it, and it's still with me. It's still much like a psychedelic trip. It's just, I'm like processing what that was, what that meant. And I went to this plantation called Stagville Plantation, and the whole time I was sort of shaking and vibrating, and I could feel all the spirits that had been there and that were still there. Some of them had stayed there, which was interesting to me. They had not left. And they felt like very protector energy on the land. But I got there, and I pulled up to the slave master's house, and I decided I was going to have some alone time around this house because I was getting distracted by other people's energies on the tour. So I went over and I just stared. I mean, I just looked and felt into this house, and the pain and the intimidation and the fear. There was this energetic imprint around the house and in the house and on the land around the house of fear. It was like a tripwire. The closer you got to the door frame, the energy was almost like frightening. It was frightening. And as I was standing in front of the house, this caretaker who's been there, I think, 30 plus years, came over, and he was a white man, but he walked over to me with the feeling that he had been broken open and he would never be the same. It wasn't that he just knew what had happened here. It wasn't that he knew all the stories of all the peoples here. It wasn't that he was totally just in depth about the layers and layers of trauma and pain here. It was that all of that was in the way that he looked at me, in the way that he shook my hand, in the way that he said, welcome. Let me know if I can do anything for you. And then he said, take your time. It's a lot. And it was so healing to feel around all of this despair, destruction, pain, suffering, violence, killings. There was this love, this hope, this other energy that was there now. This way that this whole place, what happened here, everything broke open enough people for this man to be the way that he was. And not just him, but all the other people that I ran into that worked and were protecting that land and the history and all these things. Like, their way that they were being, their beingness, was that they had let it get to the core of them. And then they had to come out and find the love. And I could feel it in all of them. That man gave me a healing so far back in my lineage, and he'll never know. I didn't get to tell him, nor would I think he'd understand, but it was radical. Radical. So this death energy can be an opening. In fact, it always is an opening. It's never a closed door after closed door. It's a breaking open and going to something else. That is death. That is death. Okay. So if you are stirred and moved and you're feeling like, I really want to go deeper into this place, into the darkness, into the beauty of the black, into the unknown and the mysterious. I gotta say, all these birds are like literally flying around. So I'm talking right now, like, what is happening? Then come join us. I will be I will be doing a workshop coming up in December called Storing Your Death. And it is going to be on a Friday. And it's going to be an opportunity for you to step into your own death process, your own dying process, by many auspicious ways. This is not linear in any sense, and yet it has a form, and yet it has somewhere we're going, as all my work does if you've worked with me. So it's an opportunity to be led to let go even deeper into the unknown, and to really work with this energy, right? It's not something that just happens. It's something that we metabolize and metabolize and metabolize and practice and lean into and keep sort of leaning into and leaning out and leaning forward and leaning out and leaning forward. That motion, right? So this is part of opening up into this energy of death and dying in all of the ways, right? And this feels vital to literally what is happening on this planet right now. The death, destruction, devastation, war, starvation, the decimation of our ecosystem and our planet, right? It's not going to get easier, but we can get more skilled and more technologies within ourselves and in connection to the other beings to help us through this time. In fact, that's why we're here. It's not the all of why we're here, but part of it is to be in this bridge time, this honing, this skilling, and allowing ourselves to feel our way through without having to see. So if you're interested to go deeper and further and wider, you can find out at the link down below. You can also find out more at thesovereignspiritmedium.com. Go to the workshop tab and you'll find the one-day workshop, Death Storying. And you'll also find the flow, what to expect, where we're going to go together. And it's going to also be held in a really beautiful community. If anyone's worked with me, you know that relationship is everything. Relationship is first, right? We have to have relationship and trust for then things to go as deep as they do in every container, right? So this is a time also in this workshop to be witnessed, to be seen, to be felt, to be heard. And what that can do when we all make space and room for each other to do that within the story of our death, right? So this is both confronting and also about softening. It's about opening and it's about letting go, right? It's about being curious about what comes up for you in this magical process and having compassion and going, oh, that's where I am right now. Okay, right? That's okay. Okay. And learning to be with this death energy in a way that threads through your life and makes it richer and full-bodied to what you experience and will experience in the times to come. Because death is going to be at every corner in many ways. Person, place, thing, animal, plant, earth. Right? But we get to choose how we want to be with it in the hardest of times. Thank you all so much for tuning in, for watching, for liking, for subscribing and commenting. It means everything to hear back from you all, to know that you're watching, to know that I should keep doing this. As you know, I'm someone who does not keep doing something just because I should. I listen, and I'm in deep listening with everything I'm putting out there, and this is no exception. So thank you. Please subscribe, please like, please comment. Please let me know that you're feeling what's happening. And yeah, you can find all the workshop below. You can find it on my website at thesovereignspiritmedium.com. And you could also find it at the link in my Instagram and my bio. We are going to cap it off at 10. We already have, one person, right? One person has already gotten a spot. So we have 9 spaces left. And I can't wait to have you all. I can't wait to meet you all. And I can't wait to co-create a space of storying our deaths together. Take care, be well, move slow. I'll see you on the other side.